Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Dee, about to react to this vid. It's titled The 7 Levels of Horror Movies. I love horror movies. Horror is like one of my favorite genres ever across the board. So I'm really interested in seeing what's on here. And even when a horror movie is kind of cheesy and kind of predictable, I'll still get some type of enjoyment out of it just because I enjoy the genre so much. But it is difficult to get a solid like horror movie. You know, it's very difficult. So I'm always looking for like new, interesting, innovative horror movies. More recently though, instead of watching horror movies, I have been reading horror books, and that has been great. I recently read this book called When the Wolf Comes Home. It is so good. I rated it 5 stars. Great book. Also, Japanese Gothic. I read that last month. That was pretty good. It wasn't super scary, but the concept was really interesting. So yeah, I've been just like reading horror books instead, which I don't recommend because it kind of seeps into your dreams at night. Actually, when I'm watching something, I don't find that it affects me as much, but when I'm reading it, I feel like it really seeps into my brain. I'll be having nightmares sometimes. But anyway, let's just hop into the vid.
The 7 levels of horror movies explained.
Level 1, trash.
These movies suck objectively and subjectively.
This bird's
The acting,
bullshit.
Directing, screenplay, script.
I remember reacting to a vid a while ago. I don't think it's up anymore, but it was like the worst bad acting or something like that, or best of bad acting. And I remember this stupid ass movie being on here.
Everything is garbage. The post-production is so trash, it's pre-production. Movies like Slender Man, Troll 2, and Birdemic embody this level. Maybe the lack of budget or lack of brain cells behind the creation of these movies. Either way, they stink. I don't need to provide words in the English dictionary to explain why Birdemic is trash. So let's take a look at Slender Man. Slender Man utterly fails to generate real fear despite having prime source material. Instead of leaning into the eerie, creepypasta atmosphere, the film leans on tired teen horror tropes, clumsy plot development, and ineffective scares. A clear example of its failure is the library scene, where what should be a moment of psychological escalation devolves into random glitch effects rather than building on atmospheric eeriness that, for example, Ari Aster pulls off in Hereditary. And before I move on to the next category, feel free to throw in snuff, gore, shock horror into this category as well. Human Centipede, Serbian Film, the Guinea Pig series, the whole lot of them are straight poo.
Yeah.
Level 2, bad.
Not a fan.
This level is unique, as unlike the first level, you can enjoy these movies, and unlike the next level, they won't bore you. Don't get me wrong, from a cinematic connoisseur perspective, it's still bad, but even then it can still be fun to watch, especially with a group of friends. There are also
that's
bad
hilarious.
horrors out
See,
there.
this is my issue. I can enjoy pretty much any horror movie because if it's so bad, it's funny, so I'm still entertained.
Absolutely blockbuster, like Freddy vs. Jason and Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I would also throw in the majority, but not all, of goofy animal monster horror into this category as well. This includes Meth Gator, Mega Python vs. Gatoroid, Sharknado,
Why is the alligator on meth? I don't understand.
Zombievers, and Big Ass Spider. No, I'm not kidding. That's a movie.
No, I gotta take note of these. I want to watch them.
Sharknado is the prime example from that list. It's so poorly made but equally ludicrous. The premise is that a tornado keeps on lifting sharks out of the ocean and dropping them onto Los Angeles. Need I say any more?
LA.
These movies are stupid and make no sense, but what separates level 2 from level 1 is you can have a hell of time watching them.
They're funny.
Level 3,
I agree.
mid.
You don't fall asleep watching bad horror movies, but you do fall asleep watching mid horror movies. This category I like to call the melatonin category, and if it doesn't put you to sleep, you'll most certainly forget you even watched it the next day. What separates this from bad is that you can clearly see effort was put into making these movies, from post-production, sound, and story. There's a vision. Sadly, the vision is 2070 and needs Specsavers. These movies fall short of captivating the audience. Movies such as Trap, The Monkey, Night Swim, and The Nun fall into this category.
Yeah, The Nun
Using
was
The Nun as an example.
I thought The Nun would be really scary just based on the imagery that I saw beforehand, so I was disappointed.
Which I really had high hopes for.
Yeah.
You can see that it has atmosphere without substance. What should have been moments of mounting terror became predictable loops that made me fall asleep. Also, sequels of many great horror movies fit into this level as well, such as Saw 3, Paranormal Activity 2, Grave Encounter.
I don't care though, I still enjoy all the Saws. They're bad, but once again, it's like I'm still entertained by it, but obviously I recognize that they're bad.
But this
is the only genre that works. It doesn't work with any other genre to where I'm like, it's bad, but I still like it. Like, not with action, not with comedy, like, that's not true. No. If something is funny, it's not supposed to be funny. That's the only time I'll like it if it's bad. But, yeah, this is the only genre where that works for me personally.
2, and so on and so on. The majority of horror movies pumped out by the industry fall into this category, but it's also worth mentioning that the genre of horror itself already has an uphill battle to climb due to the nature of the genre and its formula.
That's true.
Jump scares become cheap, possession stories become repetitive, and haunted houses feel similar. Unlike dramas or thrillers, horror depends almost entirely on surprise, tension, and atmosphere. You have to subvert expectations or bring something new to the table, otherwise even a competently made film will land as mid.
Level 4.
That's very true.
Unlike level 3 horror movies that are the equivalent of vanilla ice cream, level 4 adds sprinkles to it. Objectively, you can't really say that these movies are bad, but you can't say that they're great either. They've got enough story, suspense, or creativity to keep you watching, but not enough to make you fall in love with it. I mean, sure, there's movies out there that have developed a cult, but realistically, they're just missing that it factor to push it to the next level from a cinematic perspective. Longlegs specifically fits into this level because it nails mood and dread far better than it delivers narrative payoff. The film is dripping with atmosphere, unsettling performances, oppressive silence, and a creepy villain, but when the story starts to reveal itself, it doesn't capitalize on that tension. Prime example of this is
I think that's also it varies person to person, but some people feel like, oh, if they're not afraid or if they don't get scared by a horror movie, then it's not effective, and I don't feel like that. Like, I don't need to be scared.
Interrogation and clue gathering sequences where the film teases profound psychological horror but repeatedly deflates its own tension by
even though obviously that's the point, but it's like yeah, I guess it's the point for a lot of people, but not for me specifically. Like, I don't.
The mystery, turning what should feel uncanny into something procedural and emotionally distant. This is the tier where horror plays it safe. The acting is passable, the script follows a formula, and the scares land occasionally. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, which is why it sits in Purgatory, where they're good enough but never great. Other films that fall into this category, in my opinion, are also The Visit, The Boy, and Incantation.
Level 5. Great.
When someone recommends a horror movie, it will most likely fall into this category. Not masterpieces, not genre-defining, but solid films that deliver exactly what you came for with some memorable moments, and you might even find yourself caring for the characters. The atmosphere starts to build tension like in Sinister, but they still rely on jump scares every now and then to carry the mood. The perfect example would also be the first Conjuring, Insidious, and Grave Encounter.
Goated. Insidious especially. Super goated. The Conjuring, of course, classic. But yeah, I agree. If this is 5, what the fuck is his 6 and 7?
No outbreak films ever made. Other notable horror films I would consider amazing are Get Out, Scream, and Hereditary. Even newer films like Sinners and Weapons push boundaries and prove horror is evolved.
See, the only reason I'm like, of course, great movies, but I just wouldn't put these under the horror category. Scream, obviously, yes. I'm not talking about that, but I'm thinking of Get Out. I mean, Hereditary, I guess, but it gets a little fuzzy. It's kind of in a gray area. Sinners as well, but I mean, technically it's horror. But
even newer films like Sinners and Weapons push boundaries and prove
Weapons was really good.
Horror is evolving fast and far from dead. And this level isn't dominated by Hollywood alone. Some of the most groundbreaking horror films ever made come from international cinema. Spain delivered Wreck, a masterclass in sustained tension and escalation that redefined found footage horror. Japan gave us Ringu, one of the most cursed films with a simple delivery and impressive build-up of viewer anticipation through mixing footage formats which works hand in hand with the eerie story. And South Korea's I Saw the Devil blurred the line between horror and revenge thriller with brutal moral complexity, pushing the genre into darker, more confrontational territory. What separates Level 6 from 5 is consistency and ambition. They combined bold creative choices with technical excellence so that every element amplifies the same emotional core. Where a Level 5 movie nails a sequence or two, Level 6 movies sustain a tone and vision across the entire runtime.
Level 7, GOAT.
These movies are generational art, the peak of the peak. They influenced filmmakers, started movements, rewired expectations, and proved that horror can be just as artistic, meaningful, and powerful as any Oscar-winning drama. Name the directors behind these films and you'll immediately recognize them, figures the industry regards as benchmarks for the craft. It's one thing to say a monster movie is great, but to say that it's John Carpenter great is the highest compliment. To say a zombie movie is George Romero.
But I don't like older movies. I've said this before. Just because the graphics tend to be trash and it's like the time is very different. So it's just, I don't know, it throws me off. So across the board, I don't really watch a lot of older movies. I mean, there are some exceptions where I've watched them, but for the most part, I don't. I stay away from them. But yeah, I feel like sometimes people are quick to call something goated just because it's kind of one of the originators and it's like they set the blueprint. But I don't think that necessarily makes it like goated though, because if it's the greatest of all time, then obviously a lot of these modern movies, it does top it in many ways. Even if it's unfairly, because it's like, okay, well, they had the advantage of like CGI and shit, you know, evolving, but it doesn't matter. It's like, well, these movies are obviously better. People will still call these old movies like goated, and I'm like,
Great is the highest achievement. The movies themselves become reference points for greatness. You don't say it's a good possession movie. You say it's Exorcist level.
Like, yeah.
You don't say
I've seen The Exorcist, but it's like
good slasher. You say it's Psycho level. When a film enters level 7, everything else gets measured against it, and not just horror, but throughout pop culture as well, may it be books, TV shows, or anime. And sat on the throne above them all, the King of Kings is Silence of the Lambs. The first, and still the only horror film to sweep the Oscars, winning the Big Five: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay. The Silence of the Lambs.
See, I don't know. This movie gave like psychological thriller vibes more than horror, but I mean, sure, I guess. I get the distinction between the two, sure, and it's technically horror, but
stands as a pinnacle of the genre. Beautifully crafted, intelligent, and anchored by two of the most iconic performances ever to grace the big screen, being Anthony Hopkins.
Well, it goes beyond psychological thriller, though, so yeah, that's not.
And Jodie Foster. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho also shook the cinematic world. It invented the modern slasher blueprint and took a leap of faith with its early plot twist that had never been done before. And The Wailing, a genre-blending masterpiece that fuses folklore, mystery, religious horror, and human tragedy into one of the most thematically layered horror films ever made. That rounds up the GOATs alongside The Thing, Dawn of the Dead, and The Exorcist.
Okay, valid. I see where he's coming from, but obviously it's all subjective. You know, people like different types of horror movies and whatnot. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, I definitely want to check out a few of these that I haven't seen before. Some of these I've heard of as well, but just never watched it. But after seeing these clips and hearing his explanation, I'm like, I might check it out. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think though, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!